Okay, well, thank you everybody for being on time and joining this session. I'm going to do a very short welcome on behalf of SAPICS and the SAPICS team. We have Bev and Aseko on the call. So if you have any administration questions about the courses that we are presenting today, please send us an email. I'll put all the email addresses into the chat. And I just want to thank you for your time and your interest in the SAPICS education program. I'm going to hand over now to Jonathan, who is a SAPICS board member. He's also the fleet manager for SBV. He's responsible for getting the money to the banks and the banks to the money and the ATMs, etc., etc. So he's got a very important job, and we are very grateful to have him as part of the SAPICS board in charge of our education pillar. Before I hand over to Jonathan, just ask everybody to mute, and if you have a question, please put it into the chat. There will be 3 minutes after each session for you to write your questions, and we will keep an eye on the chat, and then Jonathan will ask the relevant presenter, the question from the chat. So please, let's make it very interactive. We will be sharing the slides. We will be sharing a video. We have a brochure for you for DDI. And we have a calendar of events of these programs that are taking place during the year, which I will share in the post-event email. Over to you, Jonathan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you to everyone who's joined this afternoon, and welcome to this insightful SAPICS Education Workshop. It's a pleasure to have you all here today as we explore many opportunities available to elevate your career in supply chain management in 2025. In an era where supply chain resilience, efficiency, and innovation define business success, continuous learning is no longer an option. It's essential. Whether you are taking your first steps in supply chain management or a seasoned professional seeking to sharpen your expertise, investing in your education is a strategic move that opens doors to new possibilities. SAPICS, as a leading professional body for supply chain management in the continent, has always been at the forefront of driving excellence through education. Today's session is designed to showcase a range of globally recognized programs that can enhance your knowledge, refine your skills, and ultimately position you as a leader in your field. We are privileged to have industry experts with us who will provide us valuable insights into the following educational offerings. Ken will introduce demand-driven institute programs, cutting-edge approach in improving supply chain agility and responsiveness. Then Colin will guide us through ASCM, or the Association of Supply Chain Management certifications, some of the most sought-after credentials in supply chain excellence. Liezl will present on the International Business Forecasting Workshop, equipping you with essential skills to navigate the uncertainty and enhance decision-making. Bill will share a video that will provide you with an overview of the SAPICS short courses, which are designed to address specific skills gap in the industry. And Martina Glas will highlight the ISCEA courses, focusing on internationally recognized certifications in supply chain and healthcare supply chain management. This session is not just about learning. It's about taking the next step in your professional journey. I encourage you to engage, ask questions, think critically about these pathways, align the best to your career aspirations. With that, let's get started. I'd like to invite our first speaker, Ken, to share his insights on demand-driven institute programs. Thank you and enjoy the session.
Thanks, Jonathan. Let me just get this up and running here, hopefully.
Great, Ken.
Can you see?
Yep, thank you.
Right, okay, well, welcome everybody. Yes, as Jonathan said, I'm going to be talking about Demand Driven Institute and the courses that they have available to us. So I'm going to be talking about 5 courses today. The Adaptive Enterprise Fundamentals, which is really a sort of it's a fundamentals program, really, to get you into thinking about flow in your organization as opposed to cost. Then I'll talk about the flagship program that has always been there from the Demand Driven Institute, which is the Demand Driven Planner course. We've recently added a 1-day add-on to the planner course, which looks at complex manufacturing environments, and that could be of interest to you. More recently, we've added a demand-driven distribution course because we found that people doing the demand-driven planner course, a lot of people were purely in logistics and distribution, and they didn't want to know about manufacturing and bills and materials. So we've got a specific course for people that are in logistics and distribution. And then we have for top management, middle and top management, we have the demand-driven leader course. So let's start off with the Adaptive Enterprise course here. Adaptive Enterprise Foundations. It's a 2-day program that really gets people into looking at where we should be going as far as flow-based tactics are concerned, as opposed to cost-based tactics. It really suits pretty well everybody in the organization, from planners all the way up to CEOs, SOP teams, operations, marketing, human resources. And it all revolves around a book called The Missing Links, which is written by Caroline Mondon, who is very involved in the French side of APICS and the Demand Driven Institute as well. This book is a textbook. It's a novel. Okay, it's not a textbook, it's a novel. And it actually highlights a company she used to work with many years ago that's in manufacturing furniture for the home and for businesses and for yachts, actually. And it takes you through their thought processes and their changes as they go through this business. And why isn't my thing changing now? Okay. And so it's a very, very nice course based on this particular book. There are 4 basic modules in this particular course. And we start off by looking at the new normal that we're finding in our industry, basically the VUCA world that we're involved in, and the company in its variable environments and some of the concepts of supply chain management. And we go back and we have a look at the conventional way that we've been doing the planning over a number of decades. And then we start looking at some of the giants of industrial flow, people like Ono at Toyota and Eli Goldratt, Theory of Constraints, Edward Deming, and of course, Orlicky and MRP. And then we go in and say, well, how do we move from this linear type of planning that we've been involved in for a number of years and get into this adaptive planning? We start talking about this bigger picture from the Demand Driven Institute, which is the Demand Driven Adaptive Enterprise, and a maturity model to help you get there. There is a professional exam for this course. It's not too difficult. It's quite a nice little exam. It's a 3-hour, but it's proctored exam, which is very different to the exams I'll talk about for the rest of the programs. And it's a closed book exam, and you get 2 attempts. So if you don't get through it on the first time, then you can go and rewrite it again. Let's look at the Demand Driven Planner, which is the flagship program for the Demand Driven Institute. And I think currently there are over 22,000 people that have taken this course globally around the world. It's designed for people that want to implement or maintain a demand-driven MRP environment in their manufacturing or distribution environment. Again, planning people, purchasing people, supply chain people, those people that are involved in your inventory replenishment and execution are the targets for this course here. And it consists of 13 modules. And we start by looking at planning in the modern world and the importance of flow and the power of decoupling. Decoupling your supply chain so that we can mitigate that bullwhip effect that we've been plagued with over the decades. And then we go into an introduction for demand-driven materials requirements planning. which consists of 5 components, really. And the first one is, where do we strategically position inventory in our supply chain? That's a very important part to start with. And we do the same with the distribution network as well. Once we've decided where we want to keep our inventory, then we start looking at the buffer profiles and the buffer levels for that particular piece of inventory at that point in the supply chain. Of course, the environment in which we're working is continuously changing. And so we need to dynamically and automatically adjust those buffers. And so we have this strategic positioning, buffer profiles and levels, buffer adjustments, and this forms an operating model for us. And once we've got that operating model running and being continuously adjusted, we can then get into the demand-driven planning, which uses the net flow calculation, which is unique to the Demand-Driven Institute courses. And interestingly enough, we have visible and collaborative execution attached to the planning, something we've never had before with traditional planning systems that we've used over the decades. And then we start looking at a higher level. That's the tactical level and the strategic levels within this, the planning as well, and the demand-driven sales and operations planning process, and finish up with a summary. Again, there is a certification program, but these programs that I'm going to talk about now are a little bit different to the one for the AEF course. Here, we're at a slightly higher level in the Bloom's taxonomy, if you're familiar with that. So if you're familiar with writing APICS exams, these tests or these exams are a little bit higher than that. We give you case studies. You get 50 questions, and you've got case studies which you need to analyze and evaluate and then apply those demand-driven concepts to them. So it's not a particularly easy exam because it is an open book exam. And if any of you have ever done open book exams, they are a little bit more tricky. They are non-proctored open book exams, 3 hours, 50 questions. You have to analyze some case studies. And again, you get 2 attempts. So if you don't get through the first time, then you can have a free rewrite. I did mention earlier that we've got a 1-day add-on program to the Demand-Driven Planner, which looks at the more complex manufacturing environments and uses a lot of the theory of constraints, time buffers, capacity buffers, finite scheduling at control points. We go into a lot of that stuff. So we've incorporated a lot of the TOC stuff into the demand-driven methodologies. And again, there are 6 programs here, or 6 modules to the program. We look at this flow-based operating model as opposed to a cost-based one. We look at this demand-driven operating model, which doesn't only encompass the inventory buffers, but the time and capacity buffers and the finite scheduling at control points as well. So we look at scheduling, operation, execution, and the demand-driven S&OP process as well with the program summary. And again, as I mentioned with the DDP, we have a certification exam. And again, it's a non-proctored 3-hour exam, open book exam, 2 attempts if you don't get through the first time. And again, it's at that slightly higher level where we want you to analyze and evaluate some case studies and then apply the methodology to these case studies. I mentioned earlier that we had a problem with the DDP course because we have a lot of people coming on there that are purely in distribution and logistics, and they weren't interested in all the manufacturing bit. So last year, DDI put the demand-driven distribution course together, and this focuses purely on the demand-driven principles in the supply chain. Again, planning people, purchasing people, supply chain people, inventory replenishment and execution people. These are the types of people that really can benefit from this course. And we talk about distribution today and the importance of flow. A lot of it's very similar to the demand-driven planner, but we leave a lot of the manufacturing stuff out. Again, we've got the 5 components of DDMOP, strategically coupling or decoupling with your inventory, setting up the buffer profiles and levels, dynamic buffer adjustment, the demand-driven planning and execution, And something new that we put in this course, and it will get put in the other courses as well, and I really like this because we call it the inventory target ratio. We've always had a problem to determine, well, do we have the right amount of inventory? How much have we got? What's the value? And it doesn't really tell you whether you've got the right amount for where you are at this point in time in your supply chain. This is a brilliant measure, this inventory target ratio. And we've included it in this course, but it will get added into all the other courses as well. Again, there is a professional certification. And again, 50 questions, 3 hours. We want you to analyze and evaluate some case studies in a distribution environment and apply the DDMLP methodologies. And again, you get those 2 attempts. The last course has been around for quite a while, and it was developed as a 2-day program for senior and mid-level management. One of the things we found that when you implement demand-driven down in operations on the factory floor or in the warehouse or wherever, we found that top management was still trying to manage these people in a cost-based way, and we're trying to put flow-based methodology into the operations. And of course, there was a lot of head banging. And so we needed to have a course for the leadership in companies to get them to understand that they need to be looking at flow as opposed to cost. And this is really where this course comes in. So it's important for top management to understand what you're trying to do down in operations. So it's there for top management with the ability to design, implement, and particularly sustain a demand-driven operating model, and how to set the parameters in the demand-driven S&OP process as well. 7 modules we've got in this course. Today's business landscape. So we're looking at, what business is like today as it was in the past, and then striving for relevant information. And we talk a lot about relevancy because a lot of times we're making decisions on things that are not really relevant. And then we talk about the bigger picture, which is the demand-driven adaptive enterprise model, which encompasses not only operations, but tactics and strategy as well, based on this demand-driven methodology. And then we've got we've got the operational model. I mentioned that demand-driven operating model, which is operations. We've got demand-driven sales and operations planning, which is the tactical portion. And then we've got the strategic portion, which is the adaptive sales and operations planning. Again, same exam. You get case studies, 50 questions, 3 hours, open book exam. You have to analyze and evaluate some case studies and apply the methodologies. If you've taken any of these courses, then you get lifetime access to the course material. And these 2 people are Carol and Chad Smith, Carol Patak and Chad Smith. They are the partners at the Demand Driven Institute. And occasionally they run online webinar series for these courses. These are recorded and they are available to you. So if you've taken the Demand Driven Planner course, you get access to the latest webinar, webinars that Carol and Chad have run online. You also get access for life to the latest course material. And if any of you have done the Demand Driven Planner way back, I think we started doing this over 10 years ago, it has changed dramatically, the course material. You have lifetime access to the updated materials. You also have available sample exam questions so that you can try those out. And there's a nice little video of Chad answering those questions as well with some of the questions and giving you some idea of how you might tackle these exams, which, as I mentioned, are a slightly higher level than perhaps you're used to. SAPICS is going to be running some of these courses publicly, and first of all, we've got an online demand-driven planner course between the 6th and the 11th of March. We'll be running this over 4 half days, and then we're going to attach onto it on the 13th and 14th 2 half days for the demand-driven operations course. We're planning on bringing out Carol Mondon, who wrote that book, The Missing Links, to run the adaptive enterprise course on the 6th and 7th of June, which is the 2 days before the conference. And so we got that in the planning stage, and we're hoping to run the demand-driven distribution course after the conference sometime. I don't know, we haven't determined a date yet, probably July or August, and then to run the demand-driven leader course September or October as well, over 4 half days, probably online. These programs are also available self-study. So if you want to do a self-study, I can help you out with that. Just contact me. We can also run in-house courses as well. So it's just a matter of contacting me and we can organize something to suit your particular company or your requirements. So you can get a hold of me at Demand Driven on those courses there, on those numbers there. Sorry. And I implore all of you to go on to this website here, demanddriveninstitute.com. Okay. If you go to the top right-hand corner here, sign up, because you will get then access to a certain parts of this website, which you wouldn't be able to get into otherwise. And then if you go to this tab here, you can get information on all the courses that I've spoken about. And if you go to this tab here, you can get more information about the certification exams. So that's my story. Any questions? Ooh, is anybody there?
Thank you so much, Ken. That was absolutely fantastic. And I think for the audience, when you understand agility and responsiveness in the supply chain management world, you'll understand that these courses are absolutely fundamental. So we'll ask that the questions be put in the chat, as we want to make sure we keep to the time. Okay. And this has been an absolute fantastic presentation. I really implore you, you really want to get into this demand planning mindset, because it will hold you in good stead for the rest of your career. So thank you so much, Ken. That was absolutely fantastic. Ken is absolutely knowledgeable in this, absolute expert in what he's talking about. So next, we're going to move on to Colin to discuss the ASCM certifications. This will also be absolutely tremendous. And also to the audience, you know of a colleague, anyone who is missing on the call, please invite them to come in before it's late. But we're going to absolutely now give it over to Colin to discuss and share with us regarding the Association of Supply Chain Management certification courses. Hey, the English was not Englishing there, but we shall move on. Colin has better English than me, so let's hand it over to Colin to continue. Thanks.
I don't know about that, Jonathan. You sound like you were brought up in Oxford. I don't know how you did it, but very good speaker. Welcome, everybody. Ken used half of my time, so I'm going to really rush through this. You're all going to get copies of it, so we don't really need to look at the slides in detail. So what are the APICS certification programs? The most popular one at the moment is CSCP. Then there is CLTD, there's CPIM, and there is CTSC, the newest one. And I will just go through them in a little bit of detail. A little bit about the CSCP program. What is it? It's like all the APICS certifications, it's a professional development program. So it gives you a professional qualification. It was the first certification program in the world to focus on the end-to-end supply chain. It is a global standard in supply chain education. It is the most widely recognized supply chain qualification in the world. And what I did was I actually went and asked the Gemini AI agent the question, which is the most recognized supply chain certification? And straight away it came back to say CSCP is the most widely recognized in the world. So if you intend to go overseas and get yourself a job in another country in supply chain, CSCP will definitely be recognized and you'll do well. And it was introduced back in 2006 and updated in 2021. And I believe the next version will be out next year, 2026. Right, then we have the content. There's 8 modules there. I'm going to leave it to you to read that in your own time. I'm not going to go through it here, but it covers the end-to-end supply chain. The benefits, CSCP will benefit both organizations and individuals. And the details are there on the slide to read in your own time. It has been widely accepted. There's 20,000 people have acquired the CSCP certification in 100 different nations around the world. Personally, I've trained people in about 15 countries myself. On average, most people who acquire the CSCP get a 25% salary advantage over those that don't have it. That's an American figure, but I'm sure it's not so different here. And 65% of supply chain jobs are held by people with CSCP. Okay, now we look at the CLTD, which was launched in 2016 and last updated in 2025. I'm proud to say I took part in that updating process. So in my opinion, the new version, which has just been published, is the best. The topics are covered here on the slide, which you can, it's everything to do with logistics, transportation, and distribution. There are 9 modules, which you can see from the slide. And now we move on to the CPIM program. This is the oldest APICS program, certification program, and in fact, the first certification program to be offered in what we now call supply chain management, which didn't exist in 1973. The difference between this and CPIM and CSCP, I beg your pardon, is that the CPIM focuses on the internal event, the internal processes of a company, whereas CSCP covers the entire end-to-end supply chain. It was, as I said, launched in 73. The current version was started in 2023, and worldwide, more than 100,000 people have been certified. There are 8 modules, which are listed on the slide. And there are benefits for both the employees and the employers in acquiring this CSCP, sorry, the CPIM. If you get a CPIM, this is the knowledge you'll acquire, all of the topics that are listed here. And then finally, the newest program is called CHSCA, which stands for Certified in Transformation of Supply Chains. Very new, launched in 2023. And why? What's the reason for it? The reason is that all around the world, supply chains have not had such a good time of it recently. And so APICS recognized the need for professionals like all of us to acquire the knowledge in how to transform supply chains and how to apply digital methods to managing supply chains. There are 4 modules, all to do with supply chain transformation, benefits for both the professionals and the employers. And the last bit I want to go through is about the APICS learning systems, because when you sign up for an APICS course, you're not just attending a course and getting some notes, you are getting access to a complete hybrid learning system, part on paper, part online. So the current version was completely redesigned and launched just a few weeks ago. There are multiple ways to learn. You can use books, you can use flashcards. The books, by the way, are available both on paper and soft copy as EPUB books. There are quizzes which mimic the exams, and there are videos. You get a progress tracker to check whether you're working according to your own program that you've set up. And the online system can be accessed by any mobile device, any device that has access to the internet at any time. The review courses. So how do you acquire an APICS certification? You can go on a review course, which is conventional classroom training 40 to 50 hours, depending on which one you're doing. The instructors are all certified individuals who've done it themselves and have undergone APEX's instruction techniques, how to become an instructor. And the standards are very high. There are opportunities when you attend a course to network with your peers. There are APEX education providers that can also offer custom 6-day courses which can be presented at an employer's venue, and there is distance learning as well. And then my own invention, self-study with tutoring, very popular, very successful. It's for people who want to self-study, but also would like the help of a qualified individual as a tutor. And I've been running these courses with Ken since 2017. The exams are not easy to pass. This is the latest information I've got. We don't have the 2024 information yet, but you can see that if we look at CPIM, only 55% of people are passing the exam. CSCP a little bit better at 72. We don't have the other CLTD is here, beg your pardon, and that's 57% pass, sorry, 62% passing. And we don't have CTSC yet because it's too new. The exams are run at Pearson VUE test centers. You can do them on your own computer as well, but I don't recommend it. We've been some problems. It's a 3.5-hour timed exam. There are 150 questions, multiple choice, and you get the test results the instant you finish your exam. The certifications are valid for 5 years, and you have to re-qualify by gaining certification maintenance points, which can be from additional education, attending seminars and conferences, giving presentations and publishing work, and through your membership of APEX and SAPICS and providing a service to the profession as a volunteer will help you qualify. Right, I think I managed to do that in 10 minutes, Jonathan, in which case we might have time for a few questions.
No, brilliant stuff. Thank you so much, Colin. That has been absolutely fantastic. I think we said with Claire, we want to just make sure the team members, I encourage everyone on the call, please put your questions in the chat box and we will make sure all your questions are answered. And I think it's an absolutely tremendous course as it relates to supply chain management holistically across the world. As Colin has said, this is one of the most sought after courses, and it's benchmarked through international standards. And if you want to really take the next step in your supply chain senior management perspective, from a logistics perspective, from a technology support structure perspective, from a holistic end-to-end perspective, and a planning and inventory perspective, Colin has shared with us which is the best one to do. And I think it is valuable knowledge that we can glean too. So thank you so much, Colin. Really appreciate.
Sorry for interrupting, Jonathan. Apologies. Angus, we'll send you an email on the cost, but quick question here. Colin, for you. So after 5 years, do you have to redo the course? Sorry.
No. So long as you've gained enough certification maintenance points, you don't have to do it. In fact, even if you don't have to do it after 5 years, there's still a grace period of another 5 years, but the points keep adding up. Eventually, after 10 years, you'd have to write the exam again. But that happens very rarely. It's much better to remain qualified through the maintenance program. And Angus, the cost varies enormously. Depends on what type of course you go on, and it depends on, and there's competition amongst the service providers, so you can negotiate with them if you want to. So the cost all depends on the method that you choose.
Thanks, Colin.
Thanks, Claire. Is there any other questions? There's no other questions, I think, in the chat box.
No more questions, Jonathan?
No questions, yeah. And we encourage the team, you can tag the particular speaker as in the chat, there is that. And there's also their LinkedIn profiles as well. So thank you very much to Colin and Claire. We're going to move on to the next section. Liezl will be discussing international business forecasting workshops. So I want to, without wasting your time, ask Liezl to come forth and take it away. Thank you so much. Over to you, Liezl.
All right. Can you see the screen that I've got the
We
presentation?
can. Thank you, Liezl. We can, thank you.
Great. Okay, good. So let's run through this. So it's really about what I'm talking about is business forecasting and planning. Now, everything that Colin has said, basically the APEX body of knowledge is a very broad supply chain focus, while this is a very specific focus on forecasting and collaborative planning. So this hones in a little bit more into the planning aspect of it. Okay, so just a little bit of history. The IBF, Institute of Business Forecasting, was started in the 1970s. They have got activities like conferences, regular conferences in Europe and in the US. They're based in the US. They've got publications. They've got a journal that runs quarterly journal that they put out, business forecasting journal. And then they also offer training and consulting services globally. And I'll go into some of that a little bit into the training. We've been with SAPICS, we've been in partnership with IBF for the last 15 years, since 2009. And there are quite a few people on this call that have actually done this course, so you know what I'm talking about, those of you that are here. The certifications that are offered, they've got two certifications at this point, the CPF, which is the Certified Professional Forecaster, and then also the Advanced Certified Professional Forecaster. So they're trying to teach us some technical skills. There's a large component of it that's about leadership skills as well. They want people to certify because then everybody knows the same things across the world. It's sort of setting a standard. And ultimately, they want demand planners to have better career development. Now, I know of a number of these CPF certificated individuals that have moved up to be demand managers as well as supply chain managers and so on. So it's a recognized, very widely recognized across the world certification. So the benefits, like all the certification, we get professional expertise validated, so everybody can see what you know, or they know what you know. There's advancement potential in terms of your career. There's also alignment with the rest of the world and the business forecasting and planning, all the different advancements in that space. Just a quick overview of what the outline is. It's got 12 modules in this course. It's got from module 1, which is the fundamentals, then module 2, which is consensus forecasting and cross-functional team member collaboration. Module 3 is about consensus forecasting and the communication process. Module 4, sales and operations planning. 5, we talk about external collaboration. Then we go into some technical stuff, the data management, performance metrics, the different models, forecasting models, and then going into detail on those, the averaging models, the trending, seasonal and cyclical patterns, exponential smoothing, and other forecasting models. So the certification exam consists of, it's actually 3 exams. So it's 3 exams of 2 hours each, and they have between 100 and 150 multiple choice questions, and each one's different. I don't think we have time to go into too much detail here, but you get 2 hours for each exam. But the requirement is quite high. You have to score 70% or higher on each exam pass and to obtain the CPF. If you fail one of the exams, you can just redo that one exam. They've also on social media, very widely. They participate in a lot of activities online. In terms of they've got a Facebook presence, demand planning. You can just Google demand planning on Twitter or X as it's known now at demand planning. And on LinkedIn, they've got quite a large presence as well. So feel free to join the community and become part of that. And if you want to do the course, it's a real good standard for forecasting that is recognized worldwide. They are in New York, and you can contact them through their email address or just have a look on the website and get their details from there. And that's it from me. That was nice and quick.
Thank you so much, Liezl. That was absolutely fantastic. And it casts a vision for all the team members on the call. As you're hearing this theme of there is a difficulty or there is some sort of difficulty in achieving these certifications and qualifications, but quality needs to be chased. And, you know, you don't just get something that's just good for temporary fix or something that will just help you get by. I'm sure everyone is noticing these particular courses are designed to make us so much more better. So I'll maybe just ask Claire, is there any other questions in the chat box?
Thanks, Jonathan. There is one from Rudzani, but I've answered her him with details of the next workshop that we're having on CPF. And just to reiterate that all presentations and a calendar of events of when SAPICS is hosting these various workshops and information on the ASCM courses, etc., SAPICS short courses will be sent on email post the event.
Oh, brilliant.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thank you, Liezl, for catching us up in time.
Thank you so much, Liezl. We shall continue with our webinar. Next, we have a video from Bill. Bill has been a supply chain expert for many years, has absolutely tremendous depth in understanding of supply chain management. He's compiled a video for us for SAPICS short courses. And maybe at the current juncture, you're thinking, maybe I'm at the point of my career, I want to do something, a short course that's aligned to what I'm currently doing, instead of looking at something that's more professional or looking at something that is more on the higher spectrum of it. But I want something to start at the baseline, equipping me. This will be fundamentally helpful for you. So let's Connor to start playing the video. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon and welcome to this introduction to the SAPICS short course programs. This video will outline the content of the 3 programs: Basics of Manufacturing and Operations Management, Basics of Stores and Stock Control, and the Principles of Production and Inventory Management. We will introduce the program's content, the participation options, and the challenges for industry in the 5th Industrial Revolution. Introduction.
Anything on our side?
While robotics and computerized software
sorry,
programs perform more manufacturing, warehousing, and distribution work today, qualified personnel are still needed in each occupation. The shift from blue-collar workers to white-collar workers not only reflects the changing landscape of these industries but also holds enormous potential for growth and advancement. A successful career in one of these chosen fields requires a broad understanding of the many operational functions that support the supply chain. Each role plays a crucial part in ensuring that products are available when and where needed. For newcomers, it's essential to grasp these foundational concepts. Engaging in educational programs, certifications, and workshops can provide valuable insights into these roles and their interdependencies, equipping you with the knowledge and skills needed to succeed in these fields. Each role has distinct responsibilities that ensure efficiency, cost effectiveness, and customer satisfaction. Understanding these roles is not just beneficial, but essential for anyone looking to navigate the supply chain environment effectively. This knowledge will empower you to make informed decisions and contribute effectively to the operations. Learning options. These courses are designed to accommodate your schedule and learning preferences. They are non-unit standard aligned and non-accredited, offering 3 learning options. The instructor-led option provides a structured classroom environment with peer discussions, while the online option is interactive and suitable for small groups. The self-study option allows you to learn at your own pace, from home, at work, or while traveling. Instructor-led. Led by experienced instructors. A structured classroom environment ensures you stay on track with your studies. Peer discussions help reinforce learning materials. Contact time, PPIM 60 hours, BSSC 40 hours, BMOM 30 hours. Contact time includes exams.
Online. Led by experienced instructors. Platforms supported, Zoom, Teams, and Meet. Interactive, most suitable for small groups. Contact time learner-based. Final exam proctored. Self-study. Prepare from home, at work, or while traveling. Save time and money on travel to training venues. Learn at your own pace. Tutoring available if required. Final exam proctored.
The basics of manufacturing and operations management consists of 9 sessions and a final exam. The Basics of Manufacturing and Operations Management is an entry-level course for those wishing to make a career in one of the many supply chain and operations management disciplines. This course is designed to provide insight into the knowledge and skills required to participate actively as a member of the operations team. The contents of the BMOM program include Business Formation and Strategy, Management Supply Chain and Customer Service, Manufacturing and Manufacturing Strategies, Planning, Forecasting and Scheduling, Material and Capacity Planning,
Types of production and production materials. Industrial engineering support. Materials management. Lean, waste, and continuous improvement. Final exam.
The Basics of Stores and Stock Control consists of 13 sessions and a final exam. The importance of the storekeeping function is often overlooked. This seems incomprehensible when considering the value of the stock this function is responsible for. The Basics of Stores and Stock Control is an entry-level course for those wishing to make a career in one of the many warehousing and distribution management disciplines. The contents of the BSSC include Warehousing and Supply Chain Management, Roles, Responsibilities, and Relationships, Risk and Safety Management, Warehouse Safety and PPE, Inbound Logistics,
Classifying and coding stock. Warehouse layout and productivity. materials handling and storage equipment, stock taking and stock audits, warehouse issues,
warehouse returns, customer service, and reverse logistics, transportation and distribution management, emergency situations and precautions, final exam. The Principles of Production and Inventory Management consists of 17 sessions with 2 exams, one after session 9 and the other after session 18. Production and inventory management have long been key elements in improving manufacturing productivity. The Principles of Production and Inventory Management is an intermediary level course for those wishing to make a career in one of the many supply chain and operations management disciplines. The PPIM serves as a stepping stone to an international certification. The contents of the PPIM include PPIM Part 1, Manufacturing Strategies and Resource Management, Product and Process Design, Forecasting and Forecasting Techniques, Production Planning and Master Scheduling, Materials Planning,
capacity planning, project management, intermittent production systems, continuous production systems, midterm exam,
PPIM Part 2, Fundamentals of Inventory Management, Inventory Methodologies and Lot Sizing Techniques, Lean and Waste Elimination, Purchasing and Procurement, Warehousing and Materials Handling,
quality strategies, facilities location and transportation, distribution management, final exam. Course assessment. Each course has homework after each session and a final exam at the end of the program. The pass mark is 50%, comprising 30% of the homework and 70% of the final exam. Note: all exams are closed book exams. The PPIM Session 10 exam covers sessions 1 to 9. The PPIM Session 19 exam covers sessions 11 to 18.
Thank you for joining us this afternoon for introducing the SAPICS short course programs. We hope you have gained insight into our offerings and will carefully consider the benefits you and your colleagues can gain on the lifelong journey of training and education. Training teaches us the how, and education provides insights into the why.
Thank you so much. That was a tremendous video compiled by Bill. And training teaches us the how. That's very fundamental. And as you can see, all of these supply chain qualifications help you build your destiny. They help you build a path to your ultimate career being established and actually grown through this. And there's a place for each and every one of us. Let me just check with Claire. Is there any other questions that have not been attended to in the chat?
No, we just asking some other questions on ASCM and IBF, but nothing on the SAPIC short courses at this stage, but some may come up.
100%. And for those logged in, the other benefit of doing a SAPICS short course is, SAPICS as a brand, as you would know, is the premier brand, anything related to supply chain management on the continent. So to have that qualification is absolutely tremendous. We are going to move on to Marieta, who's going to tell us about the International Supply Chain Education Alliance courses, focusing on internationally recognized certifications in supply chain and healthcare supply chain management. This is also a particular niche that is absolutely tremendous for us to know, and it covers so much. And these courses are also very well researched and admired all over the world. So I'll hand over to Marieta to give us a run through those courses. Thank you so much, Marieta.
Thanks a lot, Neer. Hi, everyone. I would like to share, this is a very short presentation, all right? So don't be too concerned about leaving early. All right.
Great.
This is, can you hear me?
Yes, we can
All
hear
good?
and we can.
Okay, everything okay. Right. The certification name is also international certification, is the Certified Supply Chain Analyst. Right, and it's been developed by the International Supply Chain Education Alliance, ISCEA. Now, if you look at ISCEA background, they are not as, they've not been there as long as ASCM. Right, ASCM has been there for over 60 years with all the certifications and stuff. So they were established, ISCEA, in 2003 in Cleveland, USA, to fill the need of high-impact training for supply chain professionals. Right, so they are a professional organization who is the developer of a number of international certification programs, and it's dedicated to advancing your supply chain management through accredited certification programs. Right, training courses and educational resources rather than functioning as a traditional education institution like universities and colleges. If you look at the global presence, you see that they are accredited in a huge number of countries. Right, you can see Latin America, Europe, Africa, Middle East, Asia Pacific, Asia, the Pacific, and then also North America. Right, so it's not a Mickey Mouse company that is only represented in 1 or 2 countries. Right, now who should attend this course? Entry-level supply chain professionals. Right, so if you've already got a degree in finance or something else and you want to go into supply chain, then this is a great course for you to go into. I'm currently running this certification program, and auditor, a senior auditor, attending it, and I think it's such a perfect fit because he needs to know what goes on in supply chain. And but he doesn't have that background. His expertise is auditing and the financial aspect. Also, organizations in need of a baseline common language for their supply chain people, that they speak about the same thing. You know, what is the SKU and what is a bill of material or a BOM? Also, individuals involved in the supply chain improvement projects or systems implementation, like for instance, ERP or a lean initiative. Also, proactive individuals looking to stand out in the eyes of recruiters, right? And to make sure, and also to impress their employers, right? Because it's only a number of hours. I'm running it on 6 days, 3 hours each. Right. Now have a look at the course modules. I'm just going to give you a quick idea of what is the content that we're looking at. In the overview, we're going to look at functional strategies, the importance of lead time, and I think all of you know what the importance of lead time is. We're also looking at supply chain flows, the value chain, and so forth. In supply chain costing, we're going to look at logistical cost drivers. What drives the cost in supply chain? Fundamental issues, we're looking at forecasts and forecasts errors, like Liezl spoke about. Aggregated planning, we're looking at planning on company level. All right, production planning strategies and so forth. Also looking at the role of inventory in the ABC analysis. Right, everyone speaks about the ABC or economic order quantity. Now, how is it done? Also, critical performance measures we will be looking at. And then on the goodness, what happened? Sorry about that. If you are looking at sourcing, you know, global versus local sourcing, supplier selection, process, contracts, in the purchasing side, the different types of purchasing that you actually get. Manufacturing would be plant layouts and capacity strategies, while transportation, you look at transportation costs as well as your Incoterms if you're importing stuff or exporting. And warehouse and distribution, that would be storage methods and warehouse activities. While if you look at your sales order fulfillment, right, that would be the different phases in the sales order fulfillment, because so often we drop the ball. And in lean and continuous improvement, the different wastes that you've got, lean tools and techniques, and sustainability, everyone is speaking about sustainability, not only in companies, in our personal life as well. You know, moving from a linear economy to a circular economy. And also team dynamics, you know, teamwork, not only you in the company. How are you working as a team with your customers and with your suppliers as well? All right, so that is it. Just the exam is a 2-hour exam. It's proctored, so you can write it at home. And you get 100 multiple choice questions. You need to get 70% in order for you to pass. Right. Just one thing from my side. As I said, I'm currently running it. Those of you who would like to join Friday's session, we start at 8 o'clock until 12 o'clock. So feel free to join it for free and decide whether you like the course, yay or nay. Right. Any questions from your side?
Claire, do you see any questions from the chat, or maybe is there anyone online who wants to ask a question?
Yeah, I think we can take verbal questions or discussion points now as we've reached the end. I'm just putting Beb's email address into the chat if anybody's interested in taking up Marieta's very generous offer of anybody wanting to sit in on Friday's session of the CSCA that she's running at the moment. Any other questions? No, Mfundo, we don't have free courses per se, if I can answer that, Jonathan, sorry. But we do have lots of free webinars and site visits and those kinds of sort of learning platforms if you are a member of SAPICS. So perhaps we can send you some information on that.
Right. No questions. Great. I covered it all.
Yeah. Yes.
Well done.
So, no, thank you so much. So as we wrap up today's insightful session, I want to take a moment to thank each of our speakers for sharing their expertise and providing us with a clear roadmap to advancing our careers through world-class supply chain education. Today, we explored globally recognized certifications and training programs that can help you stay competitive, grow your expertise, and drive meaningful change in your organization. Whether you're looking to enhance your knowledge in demand-driven planning, forecasting, logistics, inventory management, or end-to-end supply chain strategy, SAPICS offers a structured pathway to achieve your goals. But this is just the beginning. Continuous learning is key to the success in supply chain management, and I encourage all of you on the line to take the next step. Reach out to SAPICS, explore the full education calendar, and find the program that aligns to your aspirations. Visit our website. Claire and the team have provided their email addresses. Please look at that, and also look at joining, if you're not, as a SAPICS member, to get the full bouquet of offerings that we give in addition to education. One thing I'd actually encourage you to do, the biggest supply chain conference on the continent, one of the best in the world, is happening every year, and it's the SAPICS conference. This year's theme is Innovation in Motion. I really want to encourage you to look at our SAPICS website and also start preparing for that. For me personally, as a personal testimony, attending that conference helped me tremendously. And yeah, what I think, encourage you to do that. I can maybe give it off to Claire if there's any questions, or we want to close at this particular juncture. Thanks, Claire.
Thanks, Jonathan. Thank you for hosting that so eloquently, and I think our timekeeping ended up by being great. So very happy to take any personal questions or any, send us an email. I've put the details in the chat. I'd also like to thank the SAPICS team, Bev, Leseko, and Connor, for all the background work for organizing these events. And thank you to our amazing speakers for sharing their knowledge. We are very grateful to all of you for your ongoing support of SAPICS. And we look forward to helping you all with your professional development in supply chain management over the next year. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.